all of us have the opportunity to glorify God through many different ways. And one of the most important ways and even challenges missionally is what Paul talks about in Hebrews 10, 24 and 25. And he says, we need to spur each other on, encourage each other to do good deeds and to do good work and meet together and to just come together to love one another. And as missionaries in a foreign land, that's really meaningful for people when they come from America and help us to be spurred on, to be encouraged. And that it means a lot to us. And guess what? It also means a lot to those that we're serving. And so one way that you can live out, even whether it's in your backyard or whether it's here in Africa or China or Asia, in the 1040 window, wherever that may be, being present and listening and just spurring people on is so encouraging, and it does so much more than we often realize.
God is moving in such a way. I've experienced the presence of God this week in a way that I've never experienced the presence of God before. I think going back around 3 weeks, Nikki and I have had more conversations about God is doing something in this place than we've had before. And it really feels like the mission week, the Long Hollow team coming has come at a really great time for that, in that it's just continued to pour water onto the seeds that have been sown, what God's already been doing. We see it in the little things, we see it in students that come to serve who happen to work in certain fast food chains that then the kids really relate to. There's just all these little connections, and they all form part of a much bigger picture that show you that God is clearly moving around this place at the moment. And we're excited for what that's going to bring. I'm really excited for what the students will see in that, as they come back year on year, that they'll be able to see that growth amongst students. And ultimately, we want to raise up disciples that love people and love Jesus. And I think year on year, we're going to see more and more of that.
So coming to New York wasn't a plan. Honestly, even before this mission trip, I didn't think that I'd ever want to come to the city from all that I'd heard on the news and such. But after going to young adults for the first time in a while, I heard about this mission trip coming up. I didn't really think anything of it at first, but once it just started coming back to my attention over and over, I knew that it was where God was calling me to be. And I'm glad that He did. It's been an experience that's been eye-opening and really placed a love for missions and a love for reaching out to those who don't know Christ in a way that I've never had before. That and just getting to connect with my own church community in a way that is so unique and so amazing.
Our mission has been to reach people with the gospel of Jesus Christ, to see them mature into reproducing disciples of Christ. And we can do that by touching different aspects of the society. There are cultural keys that open up the heart's door in every culture. And so sports, education, music, there's just different keys that we can utilize in order to reach people. And so we've tried to do that with the Our Vision. We feel like we've made a real difference in the lives of families here. And then, not to mention the church and the Women's Rescue Ministry that you can speak to, the sports ministry, the foster homes.
And I think a lot of these ministries that have been started since the growth of the church is multi-generational. In other words, there are people that when we first got here, we discipled, they're discipling others, and those people are discipling others. And we're watching, because we've been able to stay, that God has allowed us to stay for so long. We're seeing several generations of discipled people serving in the Dominican Republic, especially in women's ministry, because that was what I did. I discipled women, and then those women cast the vision about what was happening in our own city. And so instead of it just being on the shoulders of the missionaries, because of that foundation of discipleship, it's been, and even in the start of the school, the person who helped us start the school is a woman that I discipled as well. And so when you stay for a while, that, and that's what we had seen in our own lives and in our own ministry, is just that longevity of discipleship and serving together as we're growing. And so now these kids that were babies when we first started the church are now serving at the school or teaching, and that's exciting as well.